Welcome to episode 187 of the Fully In It podcast. Whether you're starting a business or you're a seasoned entrepreneur, this episode will help you think about how you lead yourself as a mom CEO. From building consistency to hitting your biggest goals, we are going to dig into the nitty-gritty of being your own boss. Are you ready? Let's go ahead and dive right in. Welcome to the Fully In It podcast with Kate Saffel, a show for powerful moms growing life-changing businesses while showing up intentionally for their families. I teach you how to create a family-first and profitable business in less time by leveraging simple strategy, mom life-friendly systems, and above all, the mindset of going fully in it. You ready? So I don't know if I told you this, but Kirk is in a new sales job and he's really loving it. It's in medical sales and it's just a great combo of all of his different skills and expertise. And so this morning, over his morning coffee and my hot cacao, we were having a conversation about his plan for hitting his quarterly sales quota as well as his end of year quota. And I found it really interesting just listening to him talk about the strategy that he was going to employ. And it made me think about how, at least for me in my business, I don't have a manager, I don't have higher ups who are tracking my quota and making sure that I hit my goals in my business. It's just me. I'm my own boss. And my guess is that you're just like me. You are running your own business and also you're the one running your home. And we're doing a lot of work and planning ahead and, vision setting and setting goals without anyone else really checking in and making sure, hey, how's it going? Do you need any help? Are you reaching your goals? And things like that, which can really make you feel alone. It can feel like you are a ship out to sea. And for some people, this can really impact your motivation and your ability to stay consistent in your business. Now, I have found over the years that there's certain personality types that tend to do better at business. This is not conclusive. So what I'm going to share with you, don't let this discourage you or speak anything about you. It just means you might have to tweak your strategy. One of the things I like figuring out with my clients is which of the 4 tendencies they are. 4 tendencies is a concept by Gretchen Rubin. She has a book on it. I don't think you need to read the book unless you really want to. She does have an online quiz, which I haven't checked recently to make sure that it's still available. I assume it is. If I find it, I will stick it in the show notes for you. But there's 4 different personality types, and it has to do with the ways in which you are motivated, if you are internally or, intrinsically or extrinsically motivated. I think I've shared about it before on this podcast. I'm sure that I have. And it's been really helpful for me to know for myself personally, my type and how that influences the way I run my business. So just really quick rundown, there are 4 types. There is the upholder. This is the person who is both internally and externally motivated. So they're just going to get it done. They're like your type A person. They don't need someone checking in on them to get it done, but they also like to get things done for other people as well. The obliger is someone who is only externally motivated. So they don't really have the internal motivation to get things done. If they're left to their own devices, it can be really challenging for them to do the things that they need to do. But if someone says, hey, can you do this for me? They're going to do it. This tends to be more of like a people-pleasing personality. So if they feel like something is at stake with someone that they care about or a relationship, again, they're going to be more likely to take the action. The questioner, which is what I am, which is so funny, they are primarily internally motivated, and they're internally motivated by looking at whatever the expectation is and deciding themselves that it is worthy of their time and their energy. I find that this works really well for being an entrepreneur because I've made the decision that my business and speaking to you on this podcast and serving you through my offers is a really great use of my time. It's something that I love doing. And so consequently, I'm always motivated to work in my business. Now, for some reason, I decided that it was no longer worth my time, then I would probably have a hard time showing up in my business. And there has been seasons in my business where I've lost my own internal connection to what I do. And it really impacted my ability to show up in my business. So, that's something to keep in mind if you happen to be a questioner like me. The final type is the rebel, and the rebel is typically not internally or externally motivated. So the rebel doesn't really care, if people expect something of them. They don't necessarily care internally. But the rebel does have the personality type to make really big things happen if they decide that they want to. And so again, if you're a rebel, I wouldn't let that discourage you either. It just means that, you've got to really be behind what you're doing and have some strategies in place to keep yourself taking the action and doing the things that you need to do. Okay, so all the 4 tendencies aside, I did want to share just what it's been like for me being my own boss for a decade. So just to kind of recap, I started a business with a friend back in 2015. We had a podcast and we had some, different ways of supporting people in our community. We had a community blog. We did advertising for big business brands. And that started in 2015 and it ended in about 2018. And then 2018 was when I started this current business that I'm in. And I'm like on 7 years now of this current business. And so I've learned a lot, especially about what it is like being your own boss while you're also raising small children, you're running a home, and you're juggling all of the plates. There's just a lot going on when you are a mom entrepreneur. And I think it's important that we just acknowledge that this is a whole different category than being a single person who is running a business and they don't have another job or they don't have anything else going on. It's just a totally different ballgame. So here are some of the things that I have learned in a decade of entrepreneurship. Are you ready? Okay. So here's the first one. Goals are necessary. I have heard a bit over the last few years like, oh, you don't need to set goals. Don't set goals. Or I've heard big guru type people say, I never set goals. I think that there are rare people who they don't need to set goals and then they can still keep consistently growing their business and making the money that they want to make in their business and getting the things done at home that they want to get done. And that's just who they are. They're like these rare unicorns. For most people, your goals are actually necessary to create progress and profit. And so I have found in, the history of my business that consistently setting goals that stretch me motivates me forward. And it has helped me to essentially hit my own, like to my husband's speak from his business to hit my sales quota. Obviously, we're not using that kind of language here as mom entrepreneurs, unless you want to, of course. But I do think it is very beneficial to have an idea. How much money do I want to make? How many people do I want to serve? How many downloads do I want to get on my podcast? How many followers do I want to get on social media? Whatever those metrics are that also maybe don't make you kind of crazy, because sometimes we can get too caught up in the numbers, but having something that you are working toward. And, I remember when I first learned the math of what made $100,000 a year. I know this sounds so silly, but I had only ever worked in low-paying jobs, low-paying professional careers. I mean, I was a professional. I taught at university, but I still wasn't making huge money. And so I never really thought like, okay, how much would I have to make per month to hit 100K, to hit that 6 figures? And I learned it was $8,333. And suddenly I had a goal. And I could look at the math and I could be like, okay, this is only signing a couple of clients and then paying in full would equal, $8,333. Like I could see it was achievable, but it also felt stretchy. So whatever that is for you, again, whether you are brand new in business or you've been around the block for a bit, have you set any goals recently? Maybe it's time to do it. The second thing about being your own boss is that your business growth is going to be determined by your consistency to show up day in and day out, and you're not always going to want to, right? So there's lots of times like I'm recording this podcast and, there was a part of me that was like, I just want to like lay on the couch and sip my warm drink and snuggle with the baby and watch YouTube. Cause this is like an aside, but I love to stream YouTube on my TV. I don't really watch TV generally. Like I'm not a Netflix person. I don't watch shows, but I love a good YouTube video. I just do. And I have like a selection of different topics I love watching on, but I will just watch, like a 13-minute, 18-minute video or whatever on the couch. And then I watch maybe 2 of those and I'm good and I'm done and I'll turn off the TV. But, there was a part of me that just wanted to do that instead of recording my podcast. And then I reminded myself, no, I'm showing up for you who's listening right now, and I want to be here with you. And sometimes I just have to do that to like jog my mind. So that's the thing you need to know. You're not always going to want to show up, but you need to. And you don't have a boss who is going to check in on you. You don't have that risk of being fired. The only risk you have is you never get your business where you want it to be. You don't make the money you want to make. You don't have the impact you want to make. And this is a sneaky one because we can justify it and say like, well, I'm working on it. I'm getting there. Someday I'm going to make it happen. And it's kind of like lying to yourself, right? And allowing yourself to get away with not doing the things you know that you need to do to make it happen. I was talking to someone yesterday about how, I was talking to one of my private clients, and I was encouraging her because she's been in business for a while now. She's very much a seasoned CEO. She has a brick and mortar business, and she's working on building an online business as well. And so we were talking about like, how do you build the motivation to start a brand new business, especially when you kind of know what business is like, right? You don't have that like innocence of being a brand new entrepreneur. And I talked to her about getting in that beginner mindset again, where you just don't know what you don't know. And there's just kind of a bit of this like joy and excitement and passion when you have a new business. This is why if you are brand new in business, you're just starting your business or you're thinking about starting a business, it is so crucial that you run. Like do it as fast as you can while you have the passion there, because the longer you drag it out, the longer it'll take for you to see some wins. And then if you don't see wins quickly, you may start to get discouraged, and then you have the thoughts and the doubt come in of like, well, maybe I'm not meant to be an entrepreneur. Maybe I shouldn't do this. And it's not that. It's just that you're giving yourself too much time. You need to kind of turn up the heat on yourself and really hold yourself accountable. It's like working out, right? Like if you want to get in shape, but you never work out, you won't have the body that you want because you're not taking the actions to get there. So that brings me to my next point, which is you have to have a plan for your days, your week, your month, and your year. I did a program. I did like a short 3-week program at the beginning of this year in January that was really impactful because we talked a lot about how to plan in your business, how to plan in your home, how to set sales goals, how to know how to market, all of these different pieces that you need to run a business. And if that's something you need, definitely reach out to me and I can help get you onboarded into that program. You can still do it even though it's not running live, it's still available. But either way, you have to have a plan for your days, your week, your month, and your year. What are you going to be doing? Right? So your days are like the this actions that you're going to be taking over and over again to move the needle forward in your business. And then each month you want to be reevaluating and saying like, what actually had the biggest impact and what didn't. I'm going to stop doing the things that don't have the impact. I'm going to start doing more of the things that do have an impact. Also keeping in mind that sometimes you need to show up to something for a while before you see results. So if something doesn't work for you in like a week or a couple of weeks, don't throw it out. It may just take longer than you thought that it would. The next point I want to make is you have to take action like everyone is waiting for you to show up. This is a mindset hack. Most people, they have this thought, like in business, at least newer entrepreneurs, they have this thought like nobody cares, nobody sees me, nobody's watching. And so they don't show up because there's no expectation for them to. At least that's what they're telling themselves. Pretty early on in my business, I started cultivating this thought that everyone is waiting for me to show up. Now that may sound egotistical. I'm not, I don't think I'm egotistical, but it was almost like it reminded me that there was an obligation, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not doing this just for me. I'm doing this for other moms. And if I don't get this information out there, if I don't share how I can help them, then they're going to think that there isn't a solution to their problems. And we don't want that, right? Like, you're in this, you're running your business to help people. And so reminding yourself, hey, there are actually people out there waiting for me to show up can be very motivating, especially if that's your personality type, right? If you're one of the tendencies that is externally motivated, just that mindset shift can make a difference. The next thing that I have learned as an entrepreneur and being my own boss is that having mentorship, coaching, and a community is the closest thing to being in a work environment that motivates you to do your best. So like I was sharing that example about my husband, right? So he's on a team and they work independently in their own territories, but at the same time, they're working toward team goals. And he has a manager and he has people higher up that are training him and checking in on him. And when we are in an environment like that, where you have direct mentorship and then you also have a community of other people who have similar goals and visions to you, it's insanely motivating. It reminds you on a daily and weekly basis why you're doing what you're doing, because, you know, what do they say? Like the 5 people you surround yourself with is going to influence how you show up in life. So you want to surround yourself with people who are doing what you want to do. I found for me how crucial it was to have coaching. I needed a coach. I needed a mentor who was farther ahead than me, who had parts of the business I didn't have, who could encourage me, help me see through my blind spots, hold me accountable. All of those things matter. At the same time, being part of a community of other female entrepreneurs, it helped me see what was possible. I would see these women doing these incredible things, you know, like hosting workshops and having, you know, like 1,000 people sign up. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it would blow my mind and stretch my vision of what was possible. And so I'm a big fan of both. I'm a big fan of having a coach or a mentor to walk alongside you, as well as being part of a community. And as I've shared on this podcast, you know, there was a lot of times I was in communities where as a mother, I didn't feel totally understood, because being a mom entrepreneur is just different. Like I was saying at the beginning of this episode, you have different needs, you have different obligations on your time and your energy that other entrepreneurs don't. And so I think it's really helpful to be part of a community of mom entrepreneurs, because we are such a rare breed. We get each other. We understand what one another are going through. And that was ultimately why I started my mastermind several years ago, was because I wanted to cultivate that space for other moms in business to have both the mentorship and the community. So whether you come into my mastermind and you join me and you get supported by me and the other women who are in it, or you find another community or you find another mentor. That's totally cool. I just think it's really beneficial to have. The next thing is that if you tolerate procrastination in yourself, it is going to take you way longer to get your business to the level that you want. I've kind of talked a little bit about this already, about having the goals and having a plan, but procrastination in itself is a bad habit. It's one that if you do it, there's no shame. I don't want you to feel judged in any kind of way. I definitely have had my seasons of procrastination and putting things off and waiting till the last minute. It's important to know if that's something that you have a tendency toward, and cultivating new habits that will help you do it right away. One of the mottos, like a motto, was something that I learned many, many years ago. And I believe I've talked about it on this podcast, although it probably would have been years ago now at this point that I did the episode, so I couldn't even tell you which one it was. I used to work in a restaurant as a server, and it was like a fine dining restaurant, and I was in my training, and the manager said something that has stuck with me forever. He said, "You have to learn to do it now and make your trips count." So do it now meant if something pops in your mind to do it, like refill someone's drink, grab that dirty plate off their table, whatever it is, do it immediately. Don't wait. We put things off, we forget to do it, and it lowers the quality of the work that we're putting out in the world. And then the second half of that was make your trips count. This means if you're already going to do something, can you combine it with something else? So I use this a lot at home. Like if I'm walking around the house picking stuff up, I will look for things that are all going to the same area of the house, and then I will take them all at once and then go drop them off where they need to go. It helps you to be more efficient. Procrastination is ultimately the belief that you have more time than you do. And so really this is, building the thought in your mind that your time matters and the time to do something is right now, and you don't put it off. The next thing I want to share with you is that self-education is really important. Educating yourself, learning how to run an online business, which is a whole thing in itself between email marketing and websites and social media and products and offers and onboarding and community or customer experience, right? Like there's a lot that goes into running a business. And then there's also your own personal growth, because if you're growing as a human being, then you're going to be in the mental space to help other people because you're going to see the impact in your own life. So self-education will always set you apart. And I will stand firmly by it. I think it's so important to keep putting yourself in rooms that stretch you and grow you. At the same time, if you are constantly signing up for new programs and new things, and you're in them, but you're not taking the action, you're not applying what you're learning, this is going to stall out your growth. It will overwhelm you and it won't lead to the results that you think it will. It's so important. One of my philosophies has always been, I don't sign up for anything new until I've applied what I've already learned in the current program or mastermind or whatever it is that I'm currently in. So I do not move forward on anything else until I feel like I got my money's worth out of that thing that I invested in. And I just think this is so important because, I've been guilty too of signing up for something and then not watching the trainings and not doing it. And I always regretted that because I know that I could have gotten so much out of it. There was a reason why I signed up for it. Sometimes we get shiny object syndrome where we're like, ooh, that looks so good. And the marketing is killer. So you read it and you're like, oh my gosh, I need this. I need to be in this. You need to take a pause and a breath and ask yourself, am I really going to do the work in this? Is this really what I need right now? Or do I need to just do the things I already know to do and get really good at doing that? Only you know yourself. The next thing I want to share is that if you have been in business for a while, like me, you may very well hit a point of boredom, being tired of your business, or burnout. This does happen, especially if you've been pushing hard for a while. When this happens, it is 100% okay to take a break, to take a rest, to do something to kind of change up your routines and help yourself to shift out of feeling that way. I have found when I've had seasons like this, because I do, like there's sometimes I get bored of my business. I get tired of it. I've had seasons of burnout where Kirk and I were both really busy, and then I was trying to run the business on top of it and the kids, and I was really tired. So rest, like I said, rest is good. And then you have to also remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing and reconnect back to your vision for why all of this even matters. Sometimes in business, we get so busy with the doing, we lose sight of the why. It is your job to stay connected to your why, to your vision, so that you stay motivated for the long term. We want a sustainable business. So this is just important work to do throughout the years of your business. The final thing I want to share, and I think this is the most important one, so I hope that you are listening, is that the sky is the limit. Yes, it's true. As an entrepreneur, it really is true that the sky is the limit for you. There is no ceiling and there is no cap on what is possible. I have seen the most incredible things in the business world of what people are doing and what they're creating and the number of people they're reaching and the amount of money that they're making. And it is absolutely mind-blowing. Why not you? Why not you? The only reason it won't be you is if you limit yourself and tell yourself something is not possible for someone like you. You have to build awareness around what your upper limit is for success. I did a couple episodes ago about fear of failure and fear of success. That might be a good one to listen to if you haven't listened to it yet. But you need to be aware of the ways that you self-sabotage and hold yourself back. Again, this is why coaching can be so helpful, to have someone who sees you and knows you and can kind of like lovingly call you forward and be like, hey, you're not doing what you said you wanted to do. You're making excuses. You could do this way, and it is going to help you to bust through your upper limit to keep getting to new levels of growth and possibility. And here's the thing is that I personally, I love setting goals and I love hitting new goals. I find that fun. It's like a video game, right? So I'm like, ooh, what can I do next? For some people that you may not like that, you may find that stressful. And so the reframe is, what are you building for your family long-term, generationally? Could you get excited in that way to keep the growth growing, the growth happening, right? What would you need to believe to make that happen? But again, if you see limits for yourself, if you tell yourself you're limited, ultimately that's what you will experience in business. So remember, this is me, your coach, telling you the sky is the limit. Don't hold back. Make your plan. Show up consistently. Show up like everybody's waiting for you. Get yourself in mentorship and community. Don't tolerate your procrastination. Stay educated. You can do this. You can be your own boss, I promise you. I cannot wait to see what you create. If this episode spoke to you, please shout it out to me. You can post it on social media. I'm not on social media, but that doesn't mean that it's not helpful when you share. Let other people know about the podcast. Leave me a review, please. I love it when you do that. Or send me an email, hello@happierin.motherhood, and just let me know that you listened and that it was helpful to you. Get out there, have an amazing week ahead. Do good things in the world and in your home, and I will see you on the next episode.